Okay, so today is Sunday, 24th November 2024. It's about 10 a.m. Air temperature 22 degrees centigrade, and it may get up to mid 20s centigrade later today. Very pleasant autumn weather. Water temperature overnight may get down to about 20 degrees centigrade. The MEDAKA are still producing a few eggs at those temperatures, but hatching time will now take longer than maybe it was a couple of weeks ago when temperatures were higher. And the topic today is about water changes for outdoor tubs, and specifically about outdoor bare tubs with no substrate, no rooted plants, but with floating plants. Um, in my opinion, sort of MEDAKA don't need substrate and a heavily planted tub. They're surface dwellers. They prefer to swim in open water, which is for me is good because I'm lousy at keeping plants. Quite often they rot away and die. Outdoors, it's difficult to keep good, consistent lighting conditions. And bare tubs without any substrate are a lot easier to maintain when kept outdoors. Now, the Japanese have years of experience keeping MEDAKA, and when I have the time, I sort of skim through some of the large number of relevant Japanese YouTube videos about MEDAKA. Often they're just a general chat about MEDAKA without any specific details, but sort of based on those videos, I come up with what I think are some general guidelines about water changes, the frequency of water changes, etc. So, just to set the scene, waste products of fish result in ammonia and nitrites in the water in the tubs, and these chemicals have serious adverse effects on the health of the fish. And there are basically four methods the Japanese use to deal with this problem when keeping MEDAKA in bare tubs outdoors. Now, these guidelines are based on relatively heavy stocking of the tubs with MEDAKA, perhaps 1 MEDAKA to 2 litres of water, which is 1 MEDAKA to half a gallon. But it depends on the size of the MEDAKA as well. Small juveniles obviously have less waste than large adults, and it depends if you're careful with feeding so that you don't overfeed too much. So method 1, this is simplest, the most basic: bare tubs, no filter media, no aeration, just maybe a few floating plants. Change 30% of the water every week to deal with this ammonia and nitrates problem. Method 2, bare tubs with filter media, but no aeration. Beneficial bacteria help deal with the ammonia and nitrite problem, but they need a surface to grow on, and filter media provide this surface area. In Japan, they often have use akadama soil, which is like granular volcanic clay, as filter media. Alternatives, are lava rock, ceramic rings, etc. like this. They put Japanese put the filter material in a bowl, just place it in the tub. Now, this increases the surface area for beneficial bacteria to grow on, but doesn't help that much. It helps a bit. So you put a bowl in a tub like that. Instead of changing 30% of water every week, maybe you change 25% of water every week. So method 3, bare tubs, no filter material, but with aeration. Aeration can be just an airline tube with a valve on the end, just to add a few bubbles of aeration, or alternatively, airline tube with a small air stone, just put in the tub. Now this aeration is to create a flow of water in the tub. Not, the bubbles aren't going to produce more oxygen, but by moving the water, then the surface area absorbs oxygen, and this will increase oxygen content, and for beneficial bacteria to thrive and to grow well on the walls and floor of the tub, then they need quite a high oxygen content in the water, about 80% of saturation. And so if you add bare tub, just this bit of aeration to create some water flow, then that helps beneficial bacteria to deal with the ammonia and nitrate problem. And so you can still maybe change 30% of the water, but every 2 weeks instead of 1 week without the aeration. And method 4, bare tubs like this one, but with filter material and with aeration. Now combining the filter media with aeration, you've got the benefits of increasing the surface area for the beneficial bacteria to grow on, and aeration keeps the oxygen content in the water high. So this is the best method to deal with the ammonia and nitrate problem. Now you can see I use just the smallest sponge filters I can get. Well, that's quite a large one. Normally it's smaller. Let's have a look over here. Yeah, even that's larger. Anyway, the smallest one I can get. Usually, depends what I got available. And with that, I reckon that you can maybe still change 30% of the water, but maybe only every 3 weeks. And to get this filter media plus aeration, the Japanese will either put their akadama soil, these granules of volcanic clay, in a bowl like this, and bury an air stone right underneath, and then, as I say, in this case, I don't have this Japanese akadama soil, so I would use ceramic rings like this. Now, some people raising MEDAKA like to have substrate and rooted plants in the tubs. Now, it's my opinion, although theoretically very fast growing plants may go some way towards helping with the ammonia nitrite problem. The effect of these plants on the problem is probably minimal compared to the effects you get from the beneficial bacteria just growing within the tub. And particularly in practice, where, dying leaves or rotten roots or whatever will add to the pollution load on the water in the tubs. Particularly in practice, there's likely to be very, very minimal benefit from having plants in the tub in trying to deal with ammonia and nitrites. Now, in practice, I in fact usually change about 15%, maybe 20% of the water every 7 to 10 days. And my setup is like this. I've got these IKEA Trofast plastic tubs over there. I've got my earthenware tubs over there, and here I have 2 old earthenware pots, each about 40 litres, 10 gallons, and I keep them filled up with dechlorinated tap water, and they are my reservoirs of treated water to add to the tubs when I make the water change. Now, this one here is on a higher level. I can use a siphon if I want to, and this one on the lower level, I just use which I added after the first one. I just used this 12-volt submersible pump on a bit of pipe work to transfer the water, new water to the tubs. Goes through this hose pipe, and the 12-volt electric supply I connect to the 12-volt cable I have around the property, which is used for powering the CCTV security cameras I have. And in fact, usually on both of these reservoirs, I just tend to use that submersible pump. Pump is quite cheap, from say one of the online Chinese stores or Amazon, something similar like that, and add a bit of hose pipe to it. And so that's what I use for the water. As I say, I keep them topped up, dechlorinated tap water. Maybe the water's not used for a few days, but that's fine. And for removing the water from the tubs, I use a siphon like this, long discharge hose, move around to some of the garden plants to discharge the water to, and easy enough just to stick it in there. And because it's a bare bottom tub, it removes all the leaves, all the debris quite quickly, and hopefully also removes any dragonfly larvae that might have found their way into the tub and might be crawling around on the bottom. I just siphoned out all the stuff yesterday and made a water change, so it looks quite clean. So in using the siphon, clear all the debris out of the bottom of the tubs. They got leaves and whatever, which can clog up the valves, which make this is like a self-priming siphon. There's a valve that end, this type of valve that end, each end, and that's the way it works. And you squeeze that. Now all the leaves get clogged up in those valves, and with this type of siphon, which is the normal one I think they use in aquariums or whatever. It's very difficult to get access to clear the valves in here. So I don't use that. I use this type, which I think is maybe used for maybe transferring gasoline, maybe, I'm not sure. So I use this type. This is the self-priming pump action, which sort of you can unscrew it, and then inside you've got access to the two valves there, and if they get leaves, twigs stuck in them, whatever, which means the siphon doesn't work anymore, then it's easy enough just to remove the leaves and twigs, and then you just screw that back on and away you go again. Don't know whether anybody's interested in that, but I thought I'd mention it. So that's about it for water changes. It just summarise some of the information I've found, which seems to me to be quite logical and what I basically work to. But I always have these small sponge filters in each of my tubs, unless it's a very, very large tub or the pond. But also, in fact, have large sponge filters in my pond, but they're not really necessary. But for these smaller tubs, maybe 40 litres, 10 gallons, whatever, I think they're ideal. So that's it about water changes. Maybe I'll just add a description of the garden plant of the day, for those of you who might be interested, which is this calamansi tree, maybe, I don't know, 15 feet, 5 meters tall, just between jackfruit tree and curry leaf tree, planted from seed about 15 years ago. The fruit, it's a small citrus fruit. They only grow on top of the tree, so you have to wait for them to fall down. Fruit is sort of used, I think, quite often in food in the Philippines, maybe Indonesia, Malaysia, places like that, to flavour their food. I'm going to try zooming in to the top of the tree. It's a tropical tree, so the fruiting season is over until next summer, but I think there's still one or two small fruit up the top. So just found one of the fruit on the ground. That's how big it is. It's quite sour, but useful as flavouring in some of the foods in Asia. Okay, so I'll leave it there with a calamansi fruit. Okay,